Good morning, students.
Good morning.
Just like Madam has said, I'm called Teacher Boaz. I was once a teacher here from 2012 when I left to the University of Nairobi. I did actuarial science. I was also a mathematics and physics teacher here. So just like I told Madam, some of you know me from the primary school. I do normally talk to the students in every given institution, from the primary, high school, colleges, and the universities. And basically, just Madam has said this morning that time management is not well taken care of. And that one clearly we can see. And we believe very well that we should be very good time managers in whatever we do. Whoever who does not manage their time properly, they will always have a problem, both here in school and maybe later in other institutions. And that one you do believe. And I do always say that having a privilege to be in such a great institution means a lot to me. And you can really make it in whatever the performance that you want. Because every time I always tell people, several times I talk to institutions, that none of us was born great, but we were born with greatness. Greatness is never a given, but it is earned. Just like Madam talks about God, when we actually worship God or pray, we must be very serious with our Creator, because He already knows that we are existing. So we must be serving God with maximum resiliency, with the tenacity, that endurance, so that God can finally bless us. Because I do always believe that even if it is an academics, like some of the Christians who stand here, and any other believer, we know very well that the beginning of knowledge is knowing God. And if you don't respect God, there is no way you can succeed in your academics. And I do always believe we even have some of the people here who are not doing good in their academics. But I do always believe you can always come up and start performing well. Because our greatness, our greatest glory should not be never falling and failing, but in rising every time we fail and fall. And that is the great thing that I can always tell people. You can still make it in this place and in any place that you can be. I understand many schools always give a talk, be it in any other school, they always just give reference. I wish I was in Alliance Kenya High, I wish I was in State House or elsewhere. You have to do your own growing. You have to grow wherever you have been planted. You don't need to start asking. There is a Chinese proverb that once said that you have to do your own growing, no matter how tall your grandfather grew. You don't need to say maybe if one of your members in the family never got the right education, so you cannot get it. You can be able to make whatever you want. It is the great Abraham Lincoln that once said that if you give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I will spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. So how many of us here are really sharpening the axe? It is the time to prepare. Like the Form 4 seated here today, looking at me in the eye. You need to challenge yourself and start working hard and preparing. Not waiting later and start complaining that, like other folks running up and down talking about the exam leakage. I always address every school and tell them the same things. You need to prepare. Just like they've talked about the Bible, preparation has power. And if you don't prepare, there is no way you can succeed. You must always prepare. We know sometimes we always have a problem and challenges, but how do we address them? Like many a times you talk even the public schools, some of us came from the primary schools. And I know very well, like the government also introduced something which they call the free primary education, which indeed is free of knowledge. There is no knowledge. And it is you now to look for that knowledge. It is you now to work for it. And I do believe if you start right from today and start propelling yourself forward, you need to have that desire. It is the great Napoleon Hill that once said that desire is the greatest. In fact, desire is the starting point of all our achievements. Not wish, not hope, but a pulsating desire that transcends everything. So you need to be having a desire in your studies from today. If you are not self-motivated, every time a teacher always follows you up, every time a teacher asks you, what are you supposed to be doing in school? Number one thing, you need always to know the reason why you should be in the school. And the pillar number one that I want to tell you this blessed morning, you must be a good time manager, not people who just always walk as they go to the parade. I have worked with many schools, like I talked to Alliance, I talked to Kenya High School, the Moi Kabarak. And I do always believe the most important feature, you must be a good time manager. If you don't manage your time, you will go nowhere. You will continue failing. And it is you to start asking that question. And I do believe it works. Any other school that you do always see doing good, I do always believe live. I'm a witness because I talk to them. I visit these institutions. I talk even to them and I see them. Because right now, if you're lazy, even if you get to the university, you are still lazy. Every time I talk to medical students and any other engineering students, they're just lazy. They don't learn how to learn. They're just busy cramming. At the end of the day, everybody fails. Then people start lamenting. So a school like this, you need to be well programmed. Like some of us do not even have the personal timetables. You need to be having your personal timetable. Those are the key features that a student that is well organized need to be doing. I understand Mr. Kakamia said you are being taught how to make notes. You need to be having how to make notes. Some of the students in class do not even write notes. They're just busy. They have turned noise making to be their national anthem. They're making noise in class every time. And I do always believe everybody here will always be talking about success. Now, what is success? I always tell people the journey to success is not straight. There is a curve called failure, a loop called confusion, speed bumps called friends, red lights called enemies, caution light called families. But if you have a spare part called determination, an engine called perseverance, insurance called faith, and a driver called Jesus, then you will make it to a place called success. That is the journey that everybody should actually be walking. Because everybody you want better life, you want successful life, not a life of just lazing around and complaining every time and then. It's a matter of sitting down and what you call the burning the midnight oil. You need to be studying. We don't need every time teachers to be telling us what we are supposed to do. We need to be focused. We need to be people with the dreams and hopes, not people who are lazing and seeking fame elsewhere. We need to start working hard. And that's what I normally do to every institution. I work on what I call the smart student model. I do school-based coaching in every school around. And I do believe there is nobody who is not bright. There is no fool. There is nobody that can say that I can't make it. Show me a person who has never failed. Then I'll show you a person who has never tried. Show me a person who never fails. I'll show you a person who never learns. Because our business in life is not to compete anybody. But our business in life is to compete among ourselves. You compete within yourself. And you stop just being every time complaining and procrastinating things that you are supposed to do. The Living Bible's version, Ecclesiastes 11:4, the Bible says that whoever does wait for a perfect time will not have anything done. And indecision is deadly. Most of the miserable people you see around could never make a decision. And when the mind is in doubt, it is easily swayed by slight impulses, opening the door to many wrongs. So you need to be deciding from today and knowing the journey that you are supposed to take. Sometimes I've worked with students that they start hating their teachers because the teachers are firm on the discipline. And I do believe it is the great Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, the student of Plato and teacher of Alexander the Great, that said sometimes we need to create war that we may live in peace. So that is the war sometimes your teacher can create in a very positive way. But you need to love them for what they're telling you. Because if you are not programmed, you will always fail. But I do believe everybody here can be able to make it. Everybody has the potential. You have the inertia. That's resiliency. It's a matter of waking up and starting inspiring yourself. Not every time sitting down and maybe not even studying. I always tell many schools they need to be studying. And everybody here needs that skill. You need to be focused in what you do. I remember very well I went to another school. I was training some girls from the Kianda school on a mathematics contest. We had a mathematics contest in Hong Kong. The other one we also had elsewhere in Turkey. But I told them you can be able to make it. They said the school that they thought could only make it was Strathmore. But I trained them and I told them they can be able to make it. Yeah, I told them everybody can be able to make it. So when I trained them some skills, all of them qualified for the maths in Hong Kong. The last year I was also training the Moikabarak school about the smart students model. They were #1 in the newspaper. If you always see the newspaper, you could have seen me, you could have seen the students. In the Kenya High School 2014, it also worked. So the same can be able to applicable in this school. Everybody here can be able to make it. I was only given 5 minutes to conclude. So thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your patience, your poise, your grace, and your humor. But I do believe that the Lord, the God of heaven, will bless this school. You will start scaling to the ladder of the academics. You will stop failing, start working hard, and be in the green light. Thank you so much.